Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Oh, all of them are here. Okay. All this talk about chocolate cake, gulab jamun, has now triggered a craving. And Vedanta says tattvamasi. In one sense, I and the object are not separate. Therefore, I am gulab jamun. So, how can I crave gulab jamun? P.S. Don't ask me to come meet you after class. Because I have an appointment with my psychiatrist. Thank you for starting us off very happily. These are from the same person, but not from the same person from last time. Okay? Or maybe. Okay, we'll see. So from the same person this side, we'll make two piles. These two are from the same person. This one we don't know. Yeah, this is also from the same person. This is from the same person. All right. Will you please explain each of the other darshanas, Vishishtadvaita, etc.? In Vedanta itself, we have Dvaita and Vishishtadvaita. Dvaita means duality, that I am other than Ishvara. This is what is, in short, Dvaita. Then Vishishtadvaita is I am an adjective, I am adjectival to God. Everything is God and I am an adjective to God. So not quite separate, not quite the same. And what does Vedanta say? You are never separate. That's what Vedanta says. Now, if we look at these two philosophies, Vishishtadvaita, Dvaita, you ask a Dvaitin, what do you want? And what will they say? I want to be one with God. And how they will be one with God? That is what? That is after death, because in this body you can't be one with God. And so after death only you can be one with God. And therefore, this is something to think about. Dvaitin also, if you ask, what do you want to be? One with God. When? After death. And then they have different kinds of mokshas. 4 different kinds of mokshas. And one of them is sitting right next to God, in front of God. Where? In heaven, etc. Not here. Here that's not possible. And samipyam. That's one kind of a moksha. Samipyam is sitting near God. And then there is one more, which is being one with God, like this. All start with sa, and then becoming one with God. So this premise means that one is separate and one is separate, that's the premise, and that union is desirable, second premise. And third premise, the union is not possible in this body, because after all this body is what? Finite, small, time-bound. And what is God? Infinite, oceanic, large, huge, and then not changing in time. And so therefore you have to go somewhere where God is, or God is everywhere, they will say, but then there is a special place occupied by God called heaven, and you have to go there. And how do you go there? You go there through your good deeds. And then you gain some sort of oneness depending upon the goodness of your deeds. And so this is the premise. So what they don't contest is oneness is desirable, and oneness is what is the goal of life. Whether it's life after death or whether it is before also, doesn't matter. But the goal is that. Now what do we say? You are never separate to begin with. This separation is an as though apparent reality, and this separation has to be interrogated and understood as what? What is the separation? Mithya. Separation is mithya. So this mithya separation has to be interrogated. It's an as though separation. If the separation were real, you can never become one with Bhagavan. If the separation were not real, if it is unreal also, you cannot be one with Bhagavan. Because if the separation is non-existent, then why are we here? If the separation is existent, then again why are we here? This is what we have to ask. So therefore this in-betweenness, the separation appears real experientially, and the separation has to be somewhat bridged. We say there is no need to bridge it except cognitively. The bridge is a cognitive bridge. It's not a real bridge. It's a bridge in the sense of understanding. It's a bridge of understanding properly who I am, and when the I is interrogated and understood, it is understood as Tattvamasi, not separate from the total, not separate from the whole. So for us there is no becoming, the separation being as though, the union is also what? As though. So this is what we say. So this is the within Vedanta the divisions. Then there are 5 darshanas, and Vedanta is often listed as the 6th darshana. This is actually a mistake made by academics. Vedanta is not the 6th darshana. It cannot be, and we'll see why. 5 darshanas means 5 ways of looking at the separation, or rather the Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara. 5 ways of looking at it. And then within that we have a twofold what is that called? Twofold bifurcation, division. One is we have frenemies, friendly enemies, meaning they also come within the Vedas. One group called Sankhya, not Nirishvara Sankhya, Saishvara Sankhya comes within the Vedas. And then, but there are certain others who do not accept, within the Veda means they do not accept Veda as pramana, as a means of knowledge, and they do not accept Veda as a revelatory knowledge that has something to say, that has something to reveal, which I cannot find out by myself. They do not accept. They are called Veda Bhahyaha, outside of the Veda, like Buddhists, Vaisheshikas, Naiyayikas. They don't accept the Veda as an authority. But then certain other darshanas, like we can't call them darshanas, Vishishtadvaita, Dvaita, they all accept Veda as an authority. So then in the Naiyayika Vaisheshika, they are logicians. They are kind of cousins, Naiyayikas and Vaisheshikas. Small differences are there, potato, tomato, like that. Small differences between them, not much difference. And what do they say? They say that this whole Jagat can be logically is a matter of deduction. It can be inferred. It's a matter of inference and deduction. Why do you have this particular body? Oh, it's just a bunch of things, stem cells, that have randomly, molecules that have randomly coalesced into this particular body, mind, sense complex with the name of so and so. Now, then they have some. This is very funny, because how did it form into this body and not that body? They have no answer. And everything is logical. So then they say, even if your Ishvara is there, then how do you say it's only one Ishvara? Look at your own body, how complex the creation is. Look how complex this body is. Look how complex the mind is. Look how complex the creation is. And so therefore what? Therefore this means that this body can be made by many Ishvaras. So they deduce Ishvara. For us, Ishvara is not a matter of deduction, but revealed through the scriptures, revelation. And so in this manner, we are very different from them in the sense that if you don't take Veda as the pramana, you are just trying to, it's just a mental exercise, some kind of an exercise, treading water in place. So if you keep marching inside a tub of water, you feel like you're going somewhere, but you're not going anywhere. And that's how these philosophies are. And another thing is, when they talk about, so they will talk about non-existence, 4 kinds of non-existence. 4 kinds of non-existence, yes. We think there is only non-existence means it doesn't exist, period. Where there will be 4 kinds of non-existence. But they somehow say, so like for example, even if we take pot, here is the pot. So then, one kind of non-existence is called prior non-existence. What is prior non-existence? The last second before the birth of the pot. So, before the birth of the pot, ghatasya utpattehe prathamakshanah, or charamakshanah, the last moment before the birth of this pot, prior non-existence, Posterior non-existence is the first moment after the crash of this part. Posterior non-existence. And then they have absolute non-existence. Meaning like horns of the what? Rabbit. Rabbit horn doesn't exist. Absolute non-existence called atyanta abhava. So then we have what? Prior non-existence, prag abhava, pradvamsa abhava, atyanta abhava, and anyonya abhava. Anyonya means mutual non-existence. What is this mutual non-existence? So suppose there was a lump of clay. What is that now? It has become what? Pot. So then the existence of pot and the existence of clay are mutually cancelling each other or something like that, or dependent on each other or something like that. This is called mutual non-existence. Who needs aspirin by now? Yeah? So this is Vaisheshikas and Naiyayikas, these kinds of things you will hear. Now Sankhya also, very briefly, we are not going to go into all of this. Sankhya it's not to be confused with Sankhya Yoga, which we have studied, which we are studying, Jnana Yoga. Sankhya here is a particular philosophy which is very close to Vedanta, and we can get confused also. But there they talk about Purusha, the intelligence, and then Pradhana, which is our Prakriti. So Purusha and Prakriti we say, but they say Purusha and Pradhana. Pradhana is inert matter, Purusha is intelligence. They say there are so many jivas, every jiva is a Purusha, potential Purusha, there are many Purushas. This is another problem. And then they also say that this Pradhana does everything, but then when you ask them the question, how does this Pradhana do everything? They will not have an answer. How this Pradhana does everything will not be answered, because there is no connection between the Purusha and the Pradhana. They are completely like Navagrahas in a temple, not even looking at each other, much less interacting. So then comes the question, why do we means the teachers of Vedanta do not consider this among all the darshanas, because when we study the Mandukya Upanishad, it will become adequately clear. What will become adequately clear? This the fact that the Vedanta is not in a conflict with any of the darshanas. We can see these darshanas, we can see how they have come to this conclusion, we can see why they have come to this conclusion, but we say we go beyond this also. Like Vishishtadvaita, we can see, yes, I am part of God. There is some truth to that experientially. Because when you are singing bhajans, when you are praying, there is a certain kind of a oneness. The rest of the time, there is no oneness. Correct? So there is that vyabhichara, there is that contradiction there. And of course, Dvaita philosophy also we can understand. Look at this huge universe, how wonderfully it is created, how nice everything is, and what have you done other than create some kind of tamasha, confusion. That's all you can create, and this is how one talks, and then so one feels like that also. One feels hopelessly inadequate in front of Bhagavan. One has guilt, one has hurt, and one feels alienated and far removed. And so even to think of a theology that says, okay, after death there will be oneness, it's kind of keeps one going. And so we can see the reality of that. We can, experientially speaking. But that's not the ultimate reality. That's what we say. It's not the ultimate reality. Everything that is experienced is not true. So many things you experience. It's not ultimately true. It is not ultimately correct. And so we go beyond that to see the nature of this Bhagavan as that which is both immanent and transcendental. Immanent meaning present, very much present in the form of this manifest universe, but at the same time in populating the universe with her presence, Bhagavan did not become the universe. Bhagavan is still Bhagavan. And what is that Bhagavan? Not affected by the universe, not under the spell of the universe. So then that is the transcendental aspect. And then the equation between the Jiva and Ishvara is what? Is at the understanding that when we shake off all the things that are time bound from both the side of the Jiva and the side of the Ishvara, what remains is Satchidananda here, Satchidananda there. That is how the equation is done. Enough, very serious. Yeah. I'm trying to see if it is connected or it's different. No, I don't think they are connected. Anyway, here's one question. We were talking about an example, two musicians fighting for one royal post. One musician did some yajna and the other one fell sick. In Tantra practice, all gods, including Ganesha, Lakshmi, all of them have their own forms and are worshipped by tantric practitioners. When they give their blessing for any wrongdoing, in the example of the musician falling sick, how is their karma getting impacted? They are also in Maya, meaning Ajnanam, so they should be impacted. Yes, their karma is getting impacted. Naturally, because if you do something, whatever it is, whether one believes in Tantra or whatever it is, doesn't matter. But if you do an action willingly, desiring some harm to somebody, then naturally there is things to pay for. Things have to be paid for. There is karma. Karma will come back. When? Either in this life or in other lives.
The question was that because Lakshmi, Ganesha and all gods have tantric rituals and they are giving their blessing for the yajna to somebody by that.
No, they are not giving blessing. No, yeah.
So how is their karma?
Lakshmi's karma, Ganesha's karma. No, Bhagavan has no karma. Yeah.
They are still in Maya.
They are not in Maya. They are not in avidya. They are not in Maya. We have to understand Bhagavan. Bhagavan is not subject to Maya, and we don't have many gods. Lakshmi, Saraswati, Ganesha, Durga, whoever you have listed, they are not in Maya. Because, you see, the thing is, they are just many names and forms of that one who is essentially nameless and formless, who is ultimately you. This is what we are talking about. And so, we can have many names and forms because everything is a name and form and everything is worshipful. No problem. So, Lakshmi, Ganesha, if they worship or in a tantric way, then they will not, they are not blessing the yajna, so to speak. This is more in the sense of karma and karma phala. So, you are saying that there is a Vedic sanction for tantric practices or whatever it is. Yes, you can say that. There are these spells, where have they come from? The Veda itself. They are not called tantric practices. Tantra came much later. They are all Vedic. They are not tantric. Tantra came much later and took selectively from the Vedas itself and called itself Tantra. So, in the beginning, it was all Vedic only. Does harming anybody have Vedic sanction? No. But the mantras there to harm people, are they present in the Vedas? We have to say yes, they are present in the Veda. But they come with a hazardous material handling, so if there is a hazardous material, it will say this is how to dispose of, don't hold it for too long, don't put it against, by mistake, don't let it touch the skin, and under no circumstances ingest it. Hazardous material, safe disposal practices. The mantras also come with these caveats. They are like holding a atom bomb, a live grenade. You can't just do it. In fact, there's all these disclaimers and all these people are urged not to do this. And still, if your desire is such that you want to do it, okay, do it. But then it's not that the deities that are invoked, Indra, etc., Indra, Varuna, Vayu, whoever is invoked in the process of this, they are not blessing the wrongdoing. They are akarta, they are not kartas. And so, how are they not affected? Because they have Atmajnanam. In fact, the karma of such things, they give to the person who has done it. The person who has invoked them is going to get the karma. Because even though they knew it was wrong, they invoked them. And then that is what the karma is going to be. And so therefore, they are not to be confused, we should not confuse them to be taking the brunt of this karma. Why? They are not in Maya. Bhagavan is never in Maya. Maya is sattva, rajas, tamas gunas, and the jivas are in the spell of Maya. Bhagavan is gunatita, free of the gunas. So it's not that they are sanctioning wrongdoing. This is simply a law of karma, that you do this and this kind of a thing you get. So this is the only difference, is it is being done as a prayer. That's all it is. You are harnessing the elements, and the elements are called Varuna, Vayu, Indra, etc. You are harnessing the forces in the universe, and the forces in the universe are just basically different forms of that same Bhagavan. So you are harnessing that, and then because of that there is karma phala, and then you get whatever you want, but whatever you want is not keeping in with dharma, so you will pay the price, definitely. Then, Nirgunam Brahma is an equilibrium state, and hence has 6 qualities in full. No, qualities means guna. Okay, Nirguna means what? No guna. No guna cannot have qualities. 6 qualities means Bhagavan. That is Saguna. When we talk of 6 qualities, it is Sagunas. Jiva has 3 gunas, and due to the limited capacity, even though it is same Brahman. Coming to Ishvara, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara have these gunas predominantly. Rajas, Tamas. When Brahma and Mahesh have Rajas and Tamas, mostly how they have all 6 qualities in full? Good question, yeah. So, Nirguna is not having 6 gunas. So, number 1. Jiva has 3 gunas and therefore limited capacities. So, coming to Ishvara, so when we talk of Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara, Sattva guna, Tamo guna and Rajo guna, it is the total. Total. It is not individuals, Rajas. It's not like it's like the individual's rajas can cause havoc, anger, etc. can come. The individual's rajas. But the total rajas there causes the universe to come forth. That is how it is. It's an energy. It should not be taken as gunas, as the gunas. It should not be taken just as the jiva is trapped under the matrix of the gunas. These three divinities, Bhagavan in the form of the creator, Bhagavan in the form of the sustainer, Bhagavan in the form of the collapser of the universe, are succumbing to the three gunas. No. They are the wielders of the gunas, but with this particular form, then what happens? See, if you want to bring something to an end, what does that mean? Tamas. It's all coming to an end. It is just the collapsing of everything and sustaining, and then the creation coming forth requires a lot of energy, so it's more like the energetics of the creation. It's not individual gunas wielded by Bhagavan, and so how can Bhagavan be free of, how can Bhagavan have all the virtues that we talked about in full measure? That has nothing to do with this. This is from the standpoint of creation. So that, so therefore it is a particular way of looking at it. The total rajas, total tamas, total sattva is seen from the total standpoint, where Bhagavan uses the total sattva, rajas, tamas to bring forth this universe, to sustain the universe, etc. Whereas the jiva comes under the spell of the gunas. You see the difference? Yeah, that is what it is. That is why the gunas, the bhagas can be there in full measure. 13th chapter, describing 20 values. Maija ananya yogena avyabhicharini bhakti. Ananya yoga, ananyaiva yoga bhakti. How do you do that? Yeah. So, in the 13th chapter, we have a list of 20 values and attitudes which are basically preparation for the knowledge. 13th chapter of what? Bhagavad Gita, yes. So, let's be clear about that first. In the 13th chapter, we have 20 qualities where we talk of this preparation for the knowledge. And this is given in 2 verses, basically. All the qualities are listed. How many? 2 verses, yeah. 5 verses? Okay, 5 verses. So, all these qualities are listed. And one of them, Maija, in me, furthermore in me, avyabhicharini bhakti. Unwavering devotion in me, Bhagavan says, Lord Krishna says. It doesn't mean devotion in Lord Krishna, it means in whatever form you connect to the Lord. And what is that? Ananya yogena. Ananya yoga means through the study of the knowledge of oneness. Because you can, when you worship Bhagavan, when worship is always based on duality. What is the duality? I am separate. The Lord is separate. And here are the things with which I am going to worship. Each one is what? Separate, separate, separate. Here is the milk, here is the water, here is the, what is that? Chandan, sandalwood paste. Here is vibhuti powder. All this is separate, and who am I? separate. So worship by itself, always there is a separation. So here the Lord is asking us to do the impossible, a non-separation bhakti. Meaning, please, no problem, worship me with all the materials and however you worship me. Pour the water as a libation, pour all the things, do all the things, adorn with garland, flowers, everything. No problem. And then what? But let this be done in the spirit of oneness. And what is that spirit of oneness? Two things we can take. We can say that I know I am one with you ultimately, but I do not know that fully yet. May this puja, may this worship bring me closer to that knowledge. And even physicalized, sometimes what people do, they physicalize this oneness by holding the flower to the heart and then offering from my heart to your heart. Meaning there is only one heart, but right now it is separated, as it were, because I don't know this fully. So that is what I am going to do. And then, but then all that are just a few aids and props to come closer to this oneness. But the best form of worship is the study of Vedanta, which reveals that you and Lord are one and the same. That is what it is. And we have stories of saints who demonstrate this oneness. So many stories are there. And then if you look at the stories, we see this. And there was one saint, she was a great bhakta of Lord Krishna, and then she thought Lord Krishna was her consort, not Mirabai, another from South India. And so her father was a priest at a temple. And so the father would, bring some garland. Some people would bring garlands, or sometimes she herself would make a garland and she would wear it first. She would wear it because she didn't think herself different from Lord Krishna, who was her Ishta Devata. She would wear it first and then keep it in the plate for the father to offer it to the Lord. And then father found one long hair, her hair, and he just was incensed. How can you give something left over to the Lord? How can you do this? Are you out of your mind? And he chased her with a firebrand to beat her with a stick which was on fire. And then she prayed to the Lord to hide her so that she is not found at all. And then she turned into a basil forest, Tulsi. And so therefore they say that Tulsi, the what is that called? What do you say in English for Tulsi? Basil. Yeah, holy basil is very dear to Lord Krishna. So that is why, we have stories like that. So that one is done. The questions from every Gita chapter except what we are studying. Yeah, okay, yeah. This one is from chapter 8. Okay, chapter 13. फिर उसके बाद क्या आता है? Chapter 8. So, chapter 8 of Bhagavad Gita, Brahmaji bestows upon us Krama Mukti. How is this different from self-realization? Yeah. No, Krama Mukti is just that's not something that is bestowed. You study here and then what? Some things are left out and then you go to Brahmaloka and then you are fully enlightened there, and that is called Krama Mukti. Then Videha Mukti means you have Jivan Mukti, you are free while living, but then after this body falls, then it is called you are free of the body also, then that is called Videha Mukti. The Krama Mukti is not something to aspire. It is given because all possibilities are given. There are many things in the universe. So many things are there. Some things are poisonous also. They are also given. That does not mean we go and eat them. Right? So, like this, what we strive for is Jivan Mukti. So, chapter 8, what happens after death, that is the subject matter of chapter 8. So, all these various kinds of muktis are given. So, but that doesn't mean you want Krama Mukti or you look for Krama Mukti. If that happens, okay, it happened, but that's not something to aspire for. Because as I have told you, going to what? Going to Brahmaloka, how difficult it is? Very difficult, not easy at all. Then, chapter 17. So, in the Bhagavad Gita chapter 17, Lord Krishna says, Sahasra Yuga Paryantam. What does Sahasra mean here? 1000 or infinite? Infinite, okay. No, chapter 8, verse 17. I was wondering, I don't think he uses this in chapter 17. Chapter 8, verse 17. My bad. Okay, yeah. Sahasra Yuga Paryantam Aharyad Brahmano Viduhu. So, this is, what does Sahasra mean? Sahasra means 1000 here. Okay. So, yeah, Sahasra means 1000 here. How should this be understood correctly from Advaita perspective? There is no Advaita perspective. This is just, again, chapter 8 is enlisting what happens after death. And then it is also in the process talking about the time frame in this plane, which is what? Bhuloka and other planes. The Brahmaji, the world of Brahmaji, the time is a different time zone. Oh, I know, in England it will be some time. In United States it will be some other time. Oh, I know these time zones, but this is like a mind-boggling time zone. So one day in the life of Brahmaji is 1000 yugas down here. So we already saw this. One yuga, Kali Yuga, is how many years? 436,000. 4,36,000 years. And then you double that, that is Dwapara Yuga. You triple that, that is Treta Yuga. You multiply that by 4, you quadruple that, that is what? Satya Yuga. Now you add all of them together. So that is one kalpa. So like this, 1000 yugas, if you have, that is one day in the life of Brahmaji. And what is Brahmaji's night? Pralaya, for here. Brahmaji goes to sleep. That means the whole world folds up. To show that it is what is given, there is no Advaita perspective. This is just based on Shraddha. Okay, yes. Then, finally, chapter 3 and chapter 4. Yeah. Great. So in chapter 3 and chapter 4, word yajna is used in several verses 20 times. What does it mean? Does it different from other schools of philosophy, Dvaita, Vishishta Dvaita? No. Yajna means worship, and we take it figuratively, metaphorically, to mean any kind of service, sacrifice, which involves a kind of sacrifice, putting yourself last. So, and also yajna, we have to look at the context also. Yajna also in chapter 4 means various kinds of sadhanas are called yajna. Pranayama is called yajna. So, study of Bhagavad Gita is also called Jnana Yajna. Study of Upanishads, Jnana Yajna. So, different sadhanas are there. So, this is how we have to look at. Not the same meaning. Contextually, we have to see, but it can mean various practices, as in chapter 4. And then it also means in the Karma Yoga, it has a specific meaning, the word yajna. And what is the meaning? The specific meaning is sacrifice for the sake of self-growth. Because this yajna, the ability to give, the ability to share, was given along with this universe. So how to get out of the difficulty of this universe was also given. This is what is talked about. All right, yeah. Okay. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet, asato ma tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritangamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Guru